governorship election, and preparations are in top gear. Eyes are on the process. INEC, security, the stakeholders are being watched ahead of the election. We can tell you that federal government in Canada hoping to curry the favor in getting investment into Nigeria. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. It's a special edition of the program as we look forward to the election of tomorrow, Saturday the 15th of August 2026. This is China's continued coverage of the election, and it's the eve of the election. Everything seems to be happening all at the same time. Is INEC ready for the exercise? The security operatives, are they ready? I'm not talking alone about the police or the NSCDC alone. I'm talking also about the military, because they are also in some way involved. EFCC will be involved, ICPC will be involved, all about the integrity of the exercise. How do the people of Osun State feel about this election? Do they feel safe? Do they feel okay about the exercise and the preparations? We've got it all covered for you tonight. This is your elections headquarters for Nigeria, and I'm your host tonight on the program to bring you all the details as you will need it right here tonight. Let's begin by first letting you know that federal government delegation in the Diaspora Initiative for Investment Drive, being led by Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa, and in this process, they are in Canada, in Toronto, speaking to investors as to the kind of investment that Nigeria needs. The President Bola Tinubu dispatched his very strong men to go and seek for favor in Canada in bringing investment into the country. And these are some of the highlights and some of the soundbite, the investment which entered the second day.
Technology, energy, housing, logistics, mining, education, creative industries, and export manufacturing. Use Nigeria as a platform for continental scale under the African Continental Free Trade Area. Most importantly, organize, move beyond scattered, personally driven transactions to professionally governed diaspora investment clubs, sector funds, co-investment vehicles, venture networks, and institutional partnerships.
If you know the history of Zamfara State, in those days, we used to be the major producer of cotton. Some of you may remember Zamfara Textiles. We produce so much. We feed even beyond Nigeria, all the way to our neighbors in Cotonou, Niger, Burkina Faso, Ghana, and so on and so forth. And this is something that we left behind. But I'm happy to say that we are now making conscious effort to make sure we bring back those values, where our industries can thrive, where we can train our people, where we can create job opportunities for our people. So don't let this opportunity slip away from you.
With the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, we want to assure you of better data management, because data is the new oil, is very key. And be rest assured that the internal security architecture of Nigeria will be better. It has improved a lot. You know, what is happening in Nigeria as just soft targets, which happens anywhere in the world, especially, which is the first sign of the decimation of terrorists. When you decimate terrorists, attention shifts to soft targets. So, and when it gets, that's like the last phase of terrorism. Nigeria is already at that last phase. We are conquering that already.
All right, those are some of the federal government delegation to Toronto in Canada asking or telling the world that it's now safe and it's okay to come and invest in Nigeria. We've got some election stories for you, and let's begin now. Away from economic matters in Canada to Nigeria and in the southwest region of Osun State. let's focus and let's tell you about the election of Saturday. President Bola Tinubu is asking that election of Saturday must be free and fair. He's asking that everything is set to ensure a peaceful, transparent, and credible election. Election which is holding tomorrow, and polls expected to open at 8:30. The president is saying that the electoral body seems to be giving assurance that the election will be free and fair. According to the presidency, quote, as the people of Osun State head to the polling unit to elect who will govern them in the next 4 years, I call on INEC to ensure orderly conduct of the election. The election must be transparent, free, and fair. I urge INEC to ensure the integrity of the process. Those are the views of President Bola Tinubu and asking INEC to do the right thing. But what are the expectations of the people of the state? Channels Television has got all our reporters, experienced reporters on the ground for you to comb all the nook and cranny of Osun State for you, so that you are in the front seat in terms of the knowledge and the information you need for this election. So we went around the town, and guess what we were trying to do? To feel the pulse of the Osun people and asking them whether they're ready for this exercise. Some of these responses are going to be very interesting for you, and you need to know how the Osun people were feeling about tomorrow's exercise. Take a listen.
We are all preparing for that election that will coming up tomorrow. By 8:30, I will be at my polling unit to vote. I am feeling excited, like if that today is that tomorrow. Today is that tomorrow. To vote for my own candidates.
With all the forces, a lot of people may be scared. But since this is not the first time coming out to vote, I'm rest assured that there's not going to be any problem. We are going to come out en masse and cast our votes and stay by our votes, get the results before leaving the polling unit. Of Osun State governorship election, no doubt about it is going to be tough, but the people should have it at the back of their minds. There is no do or die affair. Let the people choose who they want to govern them. Stay calm, let free an election, let the interest of the people supersede any other force from anywhere. The youth should come out, not with fight, with their voting card, their power. They should come out and cast their votes and not doing any violence in whatsoever. With the level of things on ground, I think the federal government has done a lot. They have given us enough security. So hopefully everybody will come out tomorrow to perform their civic responsibility.
Today we thank God, everything is cool down. Everything is okay. We see many people from outside state to come to Osun State to come and do investigation, to come and do monitoring. Everything is okay.
All right then. Those are some of the views right there. A lot of anticipation and optimism ahead of the exercise. Well, the election of tomorrow, we understand that more than 25,000 security personnel have been deployed to the 30 local government areas of Osun State, and we are known that we're seeing that how anticipatory that election will be. It's a day that a lot of them have been waiting for, and now it's time for the people to go out. But in terms of security, we've seen a lot of violent activities over the last few weeks, but in the real sense of it, do the people feel safe? What are the assurances that the security operatives are giving? And these are some of the assurances that we're getting today, as we are able to extract it right here on Channels Television from some of the leading security agencies for this election.
As of today, we have posted 1 unit of police mobile force personnel. A unit is 63 men to each local government area. These men will be supervised by a commissioner of police, a deputy commissioner of police, and an assistant commissioner of police who is also a squadron commander. At the INEC headquarters and other rack centers, we have a total of 2 units on standby, 2 units of armed mobile police officers on standby, and 7 units of armed special protection unit personnel on standby for the movement of electoral materials for this election. Also, at the state command here where we are, we have 2 units. We have 2 units of police and police mobile force personnel on ground. As of yesterday, our air components were available. Our drone units and our helicopter units are on ground too. They are involved in the aerial surveillance for the elections. Also, every polling unit will be having 4 unarmed security personnel there for the security of the polling unit. And so with these and others we are doing, we also have officers, covert officers moving around, gathering intelligence and informing us on what's happening at the various black spots and flash points for the elections. We have everything under control. I want to assure indigenes of Osun State not to be afraid, but to come out and cast their votes. It is their right. And our responsibility is to ensure a safe, secure and seamless elections in Osun State. From time to time, I'll be updating you incidences and how I've been handling it. I want to warn also that anyone caught as a threat to this election will be decisively dealt with. Thank you.
A total number of 10,210 officers and men of the court have been deployed for this Osun gubernatorial election, and out of which we have our tactical squads, talking about the CGSIS squad, I'm talking about the Command and General Special Intelligence squad, the Special Force, we have the crack squad, we have the SWAT, we have the K9. I just mentioned a few. We are already here so that we can have a free, fair and credible election. The police, they are the leading agency when we're talking about this election, and we are collaborating. Like you guys know that our mandate is protection of lives and properties, more especially all critical national assets and infrastructure. While talking about the deployment, yes, all the 30 local governments in Osun State, all our officers and men are there, and in all polling units we have three officers, and we have 2 armsmen 500 meters away. So that's how we made our deployment. And in all the 30 local governments, we are having 90 ELOCs, which means we have 3 ELOCs full of armsmen in each local government. So that's how we do it.
So you heard them. Police on one hand, in terms of the process and the protection of human and the materials, and the Civil Defense Corps protecting the critical national infrastructure. So hoping that all of the synergies will be able to ensure one thing, that no life is lost during this process and all the ballot is safe and secured until the results are announced. But we're getting a lot of reactions, anticipation, and a lot of warning coming from civil society organizations. Some of them who are asking whether or not INEC is ready, security agencies are ready. And some of these questions come in form of warning and advisory. And some civil society organizations who have observation groups are speaking out at press conferences which held across Osogbo, the capital of Osun State today. Take a listen to some of them.
Situation room has followed with concern the reports of politically motivated violence, crashes involving political actors and supporters, attacks and intimidation, tensions surrounding major motor parks and transport unions, allegations of political thuggery, death and arrest of political actors, and the increasingly hostile rhetoric among political parties and their supporters. Situation expects an improved administration and management of the year 2026 Osun State governorship election, especially as all eyes are on the conduct of the election. INEC sensitive materials are live to Osogbo at about 8:30 p.m. on Thursday, 13th August, due to reprinting of the ballot papers to include the candidate of Social Democratic Party. While this has potential to cause delays to early arrival of materials at the polling units on election day, if not managed carefully. Situation knows the heavy deployment of the military for this election and hopeful that the entire security machinery will conduct themselves responsibly and adhere to civil and responsible terms of engagement under the rule of law. Situation will further call on the police to document evidence of violence, infractions, and their perpetrators, and share this information with INEC in order to speedily bring offenders to book, no matter how highly traced.
All right, then. One of the civil society organizations giving their views and advisory ahead of the election. We're bringing you some of them who are also speaking on this election. But there's a lot to talk about on this election. And in this episode of the program, I'm going to be bringing you as much information as you need it. So stand by for me, everyone, because it's now time for us to dig into some figures beyond what the rhetoric, beyond the narratives that you're hearing. Take away all the noises of campaigns and the drums of the pitches from the political parties and their candidates. Let's focus on what really matters, the figures, the data set, some of the information necessary for you to know how critical this election is. And we announce to you that Channels Television, in conjunction with Yaga Africa, is bringing to you ERAD, a platform to monitor and track the result for you, real-time following on what INEC is posting on IREV, and bringing to you how the data is making sense and how the results are forming on the map, and that will open for you tomorrow. But let me get to the screen as I'm being joined now by the Executive Director of Yaga Africa, a democracy and election expert, Mr. Samson Itodo. Thank you so much, Samson, for joining us.
Always a delight.
Thank you so much. And congratulations again.
Congratulations.
ERAD will open officially tomorrow. And hoping that all is set, IREV is working, and the magic of getting the result into the map for our viewers and Osun people to be able to see all of that will be ready, isn't it?
Yeah, we're very, very optimistic. We're ready at Yaga Africa, including channels, the studio, the data center, all those who need to be trained are being trained. We're just waiting for tomorrow.
Absolutely. Let's dig in. We have a few minutes to be able to get into these data and what is important, what people need to know as of today. We know that the state was created in 1991.
That's right.
One of the youngest states created during the military era. And part of some of the legacies that the military has left for us.
That's right.
Created from the 6 region to we have 12 states to 19 to 21 to 30 states and 36 states. And this is what we have. Some of the last set of states that was created under the military in 1991. 30 local government areas with 332 wards. But as of today, what we know is that 3,763 polling units, different from 2022. When the election held last time in the state. The registered voters has incredibly moved up. 2.3.
We will see the progression.
Absolutely. 2,333,233 registered voters. But like I always say, do not put your eyes on this figure. But the PVC collection rate is also one of the highest across the country in the last CVR. And Ekiti Osun had their own special CVR and registration done. The population of the state, as we know it, is 3.416959. If you look at this, you see that incredibly we have huge number of people who are on the on the registration of INEC for an election, compared to just about less than 1.5 million people that are not on INEC list. So this is a data set that everyone needs to hold on their left hand.
Yeah,
very critical.
Very important.
This especially, the PVC collection, the number of polling units, local government area, and the wards, they mean something.
Yeah, they mean something because you know you can't be declared a winner if you don't meet two conditions: majority of votes and then 1/4 of votes in 2/3 of the local government. So you need 25% of 20 local government, or in 20 local governments, to be declared a winner. So you can have majority of the votes, but you need 25% of votes in 20 local governments, because that represents 2/3 of the state. If no one meets that condition, then we're going to go on a runoff. And the Constitution says INEC will have to conduct a runoff 21 days from the date of declaration. So quite important. Sharon, something interesting here. You know, in Ekiti it was more than this. It was 91 or thereabout. Or 97, thereabout.
Close to almost 100%.
100%, but this is 81%. Whilst the number of voters higher, but when you look at the PVC rate compared to Ekiti, this is lower than Ekiti.
Yeah, and we'll see all of those data set and how we can make sense of it. So who are the registered voters? Samson, out of the registered voters, we've been able to make sense and aggregate who they are, their occupation, and their societal profiling. This is what we have.
In fact, I would say that this election will be determined by these three categories of voters. It will be students, it will be traders, and it will be artisans. Because you see the students, they're about 32%, and the majority of them are young people. You look at traders, they're about 20%, and then artisans are about 13%. One thing, though, people say that civil servants dominate the profile of the state, but they are just 4.9% number of registered voters. So a combination of either these three, or perhaps you will put those who identify as business folks, they're about 11%. So I think this election will be determined by these four categories of people. More so that these two categories of people are found in the rural areas. Fishing, farming, 8%. The lowest that you have are those who identify as housewife. You know what is lovely about this state, Cheryl, is the fact that you just have 0.6% as housewives. Therefore, most of these may be dominated by females, and I think there's a data that actually shows. In some states, you would see more women actually, the data for the number of housewives actually increases. So I think it says a lot about the profile of those who are on the voters register.
I mean, this is critical. People were wondering why and some of the reasons behind how students are more in a state like Osun. For example, Osun has about 15 registered tertiary institutions. And out of that, you have 3 federal universities, 2 state universities, and 10 private universities. In this state alone, you have Bowen University, you have you have Bowen, you have Readiness, you have Adeleke University, all here. You have the University of Ife, which is second to University of Ilorin.
Very prestigious university.
Unilorin, yes, in Kwara State. UniIfe, for those who say University of Ife or Obafemi Awolowo University, there's a contestation whether or not they are number 2 after University of Ilorin, where I finished from.
Excuse me? Let's not go there. Let's not go
Uni Osun and Uni Obafemi Awolowo University. Ife is also here. So it tells you something about this data set, how we have more students, and students are likely to be the determinant of this election if they come out in that number. 32% of the registered voters. Whether or not they've all collected their PVC is another thing. But again, one other thing is that most of them, the schools are in session.
Yes, the schools are in session. But you know, what you just talked about really accounts for the fact that the people of Osun are politically savvy. And you clearly see that despite the tensed and political environment, I have seen, you know, the people of Osun exhibit resilience. They're willing to debate issues. They're willing to talk about this. And it's just that level of political consciousness. And I would say that, you know, credits to the people of Osun, really inspired by their resilience. So I hope they will demonstrate that tomorrow.
Historically speaking, Samson, this group of people, the civil servants, have one time in this state determine the election.
Because you need their votes.
No, they were able to determine the labor, the civil servant, the teachers. In fact, they were a big block to convince for an election.
They still are, because if you treat these people poorly, it will definitely impact on your electoral outcome.
This number, the trading population has increased in Osun. It wasn't this much. Before now, it used to be the farmer, the artisans, and the civil servants, and the public servants. That is the number of, in the aggregation of the profiling of the society.
One argument you can also make is that these civil servants have families. And these families could probably be business people. Some could be students. Some could be involved in trading. And so when you look at how parents influence voting choices, and you have family members that toe the ideological line of their parents, you can't discard these people. Because these civil servants are actually what you call the perpetual voters. They always vote.
Because they matter. They understand. The public servant, I put these two together because they always are impacted
And
by the policy of government.
Yeah, that's 7%. Because
absolutely.
4.9 plus 2.1 just gives you
critical.
about 7%. Very critical.
Yeah.
In this election, very competitive, one vote can make a difference.
Now, this group of people, don't dare them. They watch a lot of Nollywood. They probably stay at home all day to take care of their children.
Yep.
But a lot of them, you see them in the different, they go for Party A's campaign. They are the same sort of people that will go for Party B. Before their husband come back from work, they may have gone to 3-4 campaigns and they get the benefit of those campaigns.
Quite frankly,
so these people too are very critical.
Do not joke with these
Don't
people.
joke with them.
And don't forget, this is not just the number, because you have women who are involved in trading.
Yeah.
And I can argue that majority of those who are actually traders are women. These are where you have market women.
The difference is that
these are where you have market
housewives. The profiling of them is that their job is to take care of the home, and that's why they are not on this list.
Yeah.
But the reason is that these guys are always watching something. They know a lot, and they will determine. Sometimes
they do know a lot.
Yeah, they've junketed around the different
campaigns. They talk about politics. They talk about the parties in such a very interesting way.
Let's get into this, everyone. In the local government and how heavy or what you need to expect. This is very critical for the election.
I think the next slide puts this in proper perspective.
Yeah.
Where you see the 3 senatorial districts and where you have the highest number. This is where,
it's Osun East that has the largest.
Yes, Osun East.
But I mean, all the 3 local governments are head to head. But where some of the areas that you need to look out for, Osogbo, Ede, Irekwadun, local government. These are local government with heavy presence of voters.
But also people who collected their PVCs.
And equally, each of the senatorial districts have 10 local governments.
Yes, they shared equally, but also if you look at the difference between PVC, collected PVCs, which I think we will get to, you clearly see that the difference is just either by 1 or 2%. So they are really between 81, 80, 82% collection rate. So and we will see the battlegrounds.
Absolutely.
I think this has to do with the trends. You can see the
progression. It has moved. It has increased over the years.
Yeah. But when you look at the increase, you just discover if you compare the increase from 2026 and 2018, they're all at 19%. Because between 2018 to 2022, it was just 8.7%.
And this is a huge improvement.
This is a huge improvement.
And it's a lot. And this could mean something.
It could mean a lot.
Yeah. So you look at it, the voter turnout, it has been also incremental in some way, staggered at some point. You look at 2023 and 2026.
We need to give it to the Osun people. Compared to other states, they're actually short. In fact, on the national average, we don't hit 42% nationally. We just hit 27% in 2023. But in Osun, just at the last election, it was 42%. They've been on that trajectory, save for the presidential elections. That's why we hope that, they can move this, back to where they were in 2014, where they're about 53%. I think that will be historic, and they have an opportunity to make that history.
Absolutely. So you look at the
PVC collection.
So you see that there's a lot. Most of them are in 80-something% in terms of collection. But for what is significant is the KKK local government in Osun. You talk about Iwo. You talk about Ife Central.
You can talk about KKKs without Osogbo.
Osogbo, absolutely. I mentioned it earlier. Osogbo, Iwo, and where is
the Ifes?
The Ifes, about 3 or so local government or 4 local government in Ife.
Ife Central.
And the Edes, usually they vote in a direction, and if you aggregate the Ede North and Ede South, it gives you almost 170,000 voters, because they vote in a block. It is always very significant. In Olorun, that local government, this is another local government above the 100,000 margin. And Osogbo is key. If you win Osogbo, you win Ife, you win Ede, you are home and dry. You just need the second leg of the league. All of those permutations come.
We will do that tomorrow. What is interesting is you look at 16 out of these 30 local governments, they actually record over 82% collection rate. And that tells you that yes, to a large extent there is interest on the part of people, but PVC collection does not equal turnout. And so we want to plead with the people of Osun that they've always set the pace in terms of turnout. This is an opportunity to set a new record. And if they can show up and record 60%, they would have written their names, in the annals of our electoral history, that at such a time, they did show up to cast their vote.
Second Republic, Third Republic is a very significant, and Osun State is very known, it's a significant state in the history of Yoruba land. This is a seat of the Oni of Ife. This is the seat of the very royal and highly placed of Ede, and there are significant, and the Osogbo monarch is also very significant, and there's a popular Osogbo. So historically, traditionally speaking, culturally speaking, Osun State is very rich.
Spiritually speaking. Have you been to the Grove?
Because Oni of Ife is not only a traditional head, it's also a spiritual head.
That's right.
The Ataoja also is also a spiritual head within the Yoruba cultural cosmology. So it's very significant that these people hold a very significant position in the Southwest and in the Yoruba politics.
That's right. So when you look at the senatorial district, Osun Central has the highest collection rate. Like you always say, don't look at the registered figure, look at the PVCs that are collected. So you see that in Osun Central, over 646,000 people collected their PVCs. So they are 82%. The lowest is Osun East with 80.7%. Still a high figure, but I think we've got to keep our eyes on this. Now, the hotspots.
The hotspots. Interesting. So, and the number one is Osogbo.
Osogbo.
Of course. It's the capital.
Yeah. They recorded about 11 deaths between June 2025 and August 2026, based on the Election Security Information Hub of the Kuka Center. There were 11 incidents, 11 deaths in Osogbo alone. So these are the 13 what you call hotspots. Osogbo, Irewole, Boripe, Obokun, of course, the Ilesha zone, Ife as well, and Ede. These are real hotspots, and we hope that there will be maximum security deployment.
This axis, Obokun, Ilesha West, Ilesha East, what we call the Ijesha and Ijebu-Jesha land has been very hot in the last few weeks, and we've seen quite a lot of violence. Of course, Osogbo, we know. Ede is on the spotlight because the significance of the political presence there. Iwo, of course, is also another place to look out for. And in some of the local government that are in the border, the state is bordered about 5 or so states, and it tells you something that a lot of what happens, you can see the influx and the coming into the state will be a lot of those who have interest from neighboring states. But these are the local government.
You know what's particularly troubling? When you look at the map, it's actually widespread. It's not condensed all over the senatorial district.
Almost an equal share.
Yeah, exactly. And that is really troubling, because if this hotspot, if nothing is done to de-escalate or address, the situations in those locations, imagine if in this 13 states you have disruptions, of elections. It's definitely going to affect this. And what we don't want is an inconclusive election. The election should be concluded so that the people of Osun can move on.
If I say one thing that causes me some kind of worry, the Ife axis and the Ijesha axis. These areas are very critical, and security operatives.
And what's been really troubling is the fact that you have political leaders from those states, from those
and the rhetoric, the narrative,
the rhetoric,
very concerning.
Very, very concerning. They've heated up the polity, and if we go into this election, with this tempo, then I think our security agencies will have a lot of work to do.
Those who do the mathematics of election, these are the figures that you need to put to your mind. Osogbo, like I mentioned to you, 167,704 registered voters. But something you also need to know is that about 130,000 of them have collected their PVC, because the collection rate is about 81%. You look at Olorunda, 123,000, Ife Central, 122,000, Ife East, 128,000, Ife South, 66,000, Ife Axis is very critical.
These are battleground
and
local
you know what
governments.
happened in the last election?
Yeah.
The role IFE played in swinging the election
it's still going to
for
play,
Aregbesola at the time.
It will still play,
and it's going to be
play that role.
Play a little
it's always competitive because
Absolutely.
these 8 sort of battleground, in fact, I could add 2, Irewale, as well as Ejibo, where the ADC candidate actually comes from. So I would say there are about 15 battleground local governments.
Iwo, Odoti, Elisha, these are also areas to look out for. But, well, these
very interesting.
Yeah.
But you know why I'm so excited as of this evening? You know, when the court issued the order and the ballot papers had to be reprinted, and there was a disruption in the normal calendar of deploying materials, and INEC couldn't deploy early yesterday until late into the night, and by 4 a.m., you know, these materials have been dispatched. It's really heartwarming that despite this disruption, INEC was able to deploy those materials to the local governments, because we went out today and we can actually confirm that in those local governments, the materials are already at the local government. And I think it attests to that institutional resilience. And we hope that, you know, tomorrow, the polling units will open very early, because there's a lot of movement happening tonight, and hoping that security agencies are also providing, you know, the maximum security for those materials to move from the local governments to the racks, so that polling units can open early tomorrow.
Samson, I guess you're ready, you and your team. I know that the PVT is also going to be you tracking the result independently. And of course, we are monitoring the IREV. Whatever that is going on, we've got our team right there monitoring. And of course, we'll bring everything for our viewers tomorrow to be able to understand the IRAD. The magic is in our hands. If you read the election, we will know.
I was just going to say that we have good news for them. And just to say, don't waste your time manipulating this election, because if you do, we will detect it and we would expose it. And that's what this whole process is about, conferring and ensuring that the votes actually count. It's the mandate that we have, and we will discharge that mandate.
Thank you so much, and we are glad to do this with Yaga Africa.
Always
on Channels Television.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a break, everyone, but when we return, I'm going to be speaking with INEC National Commission. Now, the most senior INEC official for this election, Professor Kunle Ajayi, will be speaking with us. Is INEC really ready? Will INEC live up to the expectation? Will logistics not be a problem this time around? Professor Ajayi will be answering all of these questions after this break, everyone. Everyone for staying with us. It's our coverage of the Osun governorship election. And now let's ask some questions ahead of tomorrow. It's not going to be too much, but we just need some clarification from 2 organizations that are critical to this election. One is INEC, the other is the police. I'm being joined by the most senior INEC official for this election, INEC National Commissioner, Professor Kunle Ajayi. Thanks so much, Prof, for joining us. I appreciate it. And I'm being also joined by the police public relations officer, Mr. Anete, who is live for us. I don't know if you can hear me now, but let me begin with you, Prof. We are hearing and I'm saying they are ready. How ready would you say you are when only yesterday night you rushed in the election materials at the last minute? And you know that logistics is always a problem for INEC.
Thank you so much, Sean. I want to state categorically that we are absolutely ready for this election. 100%, not even 99.9. 100% ready. You know what? Whenever I talk with confidence. We met even on those days, and I told you certain things, and they came to pass. In this election, there will be no deviation about whatever I tell you.
Polls will open early?
By 8:30, it will open.
But I mean, why did you go and print election materials abroad this time around?
Who told you so?
I've got it from my ears today.
No, that is a misinformation.
Where did you print it? Did you print it locally?
Since 2023, we have involved local printers because of the experience we had in the previous election, when they went abroad to print and the team failed. Since that time, INEC has learned its lessons that there are capable printers in Nigeria. Why should we go?
So you printed it locally?
Yeah, locally.
Okay. So
from reputable printers, reputable printers that have name, printers that have integrity.
So you have now 15 political parties.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
That we don't, including SDP.
Yes.
Right.
As directed by the court.
By the court.
Yeah.
The big question here will be issues of logistics.
Yeah.
That has always been a problem for INEC. What would you say INEC has done differently this time around?
What INEC has done well is what I'm going to say. In spite of the late judgment, which came very late after we have printed all sensitive materials and moved to the appropriate quarters, the judgment just came on a Friday for that quarter. And we had only Sundays, Monday, Saturday, Sunday, and we needed a certified true copy of the judgment before we can move in. We want to be sure that the judgment was correct and the judgment was true, the judgment from a competent court of law. So when we did that, we moved into action. In spite of the fact that the thing came late, we were able to print all ballot papers, millions, within 36 hours, because hours had no meaning to us anymore. Days had no meaning to us anymore. Days had no meaning to us anymore. We were working day and night as if it was day. So we were able to complete the printing, and we moved all the materials, all the sensitive materials, ballot, for BCA, everything, we moved them to the central bank yesterday, late last night. But that did not disturb our logistic arrangements in this. Anyway, initially, we were to distribute the sensitive materials on Saturday, on Wednesday rather, or early Thursday morning. But because of that judgment, we couldn't move from Abuja to the central bank until very late. But in spite of that, we were able to distribute to all the 30 local governments without missing any, and without any issue on the road.
Yeah.
We finished about 5 a.m. this morning to distribute the materials to the local government.
Prof,
yeah.
Are you ready, and are we going to see all the results online, real time?
All the results will go on IREF. I can assure you of that.
The last time, and civil society, Yaga flagged this to say the results were coming in batches. The results are not supposed to come in batch because it's not being deployed at the same place. And everyone is not sending it because it comes in batches, and in batches like that. Are we going to see some level of transparency?
Technically, I won't know what they meant by batch. But all I know is that the sort will be transmitted real time. As they are being announced at the polling unit, they will be transferred to the IREF. That is all I know. But if they are here now, we will have explained to them what they mean by batch. But at the end of the day, the same Yaga congratulated us that all results came in at last. All the results. And you have to put into consideration certain things too. This is, for instance, network. You have to consider network at times. So then you have to consider the volume of things that be going to the
Are you able to tell Nigerians and publish the audit trail of your, for example, there is a form EC8A digital.
Yeah.
And there is the IREF.
Yeah.
Nigerians may want to know how these are being deployed and the transparency behind the figures and the results.
Yeah.
What is going to be different this time around?
What is going to be different is that we are going to perform better. That is, immediately the results are ready, they will snapshot them, they will send them to the RF through the same device, they will transfer to the RF. And people will be, the RF is a view center. There's a misinformation when it comes to the function of the RF. The RF is not an adding machine. It's not an adding machine. It's not an adding system. Because some people are expecting that immediately the results are coming in, party A scored this, party B, they'll be adding like that. No. At the end of the day, there'll be a gross total. No, INEC is not meant for that. INEC is meant for display of results from the PUs. That is what INEC is meant. But individually, either individuals or groups or institutions can now take their pen and be adding one by one at their own level. But what is important is that the results transmitted to the IRF, are they different from what came up from the PU No. Nobody has voted.
All right.
Yeah, nobody has voted us in that.
So we are guaranteed.
That
you can give assurance. IREV, we work tomorrow.
Perfectly.
Results will be transparent.
Perfectly. Yeah.
Nobody will rig the election.
Sorry. Osun State. We get their whatever they vote for. Their votes will count tomorrow.
All right.
We do not have political parties, and we do not have candidates. We are impartial and we are neutral. We have core values that we are good, that are guiding us, apart from the international standard. But the core values of transparency is very important to us. Fairness, freeness, integrity, credibility, inclusiveness. We are not going to marginalize anybody. At the end of the day, the result, the election will be conclusive. I can assure you of that. Take my words for that.
There won't be a second ballot.
No, there won't be.
You can't.
We have done our own work.
Okay.
It's when you have not done your own work that you will be thinking, you will be in doubt. And this
there are those who think that it's a three-horse race.
A student that read very well will not be doubting whether it will fail or pass. We have read very well.
A second ballot doesn't mean the failure of INEC. It means the decision of people is inchoate as to the spread based on the law that guarantees two reasons why election and a winner can be determined.
No. Let me tell you this. If the people could not be able to vote, but we are telling you, as long as you are at your polling booth by 2:30, not 2:31, no. If you come in and you are just walking in leisurely to the polling unit at 2:31, they may disallow. But as long as you are in the queue, you can be 1 million on the queue. As long as you are there by 2:30, everybody will. If it amounts to put on generator, we will do that.
Prof, give me a moment. I'm being joined by the first PRO, Mr. Enete, who is live for us.
Yeah.
Mr. Enete, thank you so much. Mr. Enete, tell us, how many people are in your custody? How many arrests have you made? Because we've seen a lot of violence. I guess we're having some issues getting to the network. Has been horrible in Osogbo. I think is a lot of people who are on the network. Things really those of us who whose job rely on technology is being a bit difficult.
Yeah.
But what would be your final word to the average voter in Osun?
My final word to the people of Osun. One, to appeal to them that they should come out en masse. We don't want all this low turnout of voters on election day. It's not good for us. But I'm appealing to them that tomorrow, please come out en masse. Your security is guaranteed. The people, the security agencies, personnel you see in town, they are meant to protect us. They are meant to ensure that nothing happens to us. So please don't fear. Don't have any fear of intimidation or being oppressed by anybody. Please come out en masse. Particularly our youths who used to play on the road. You know, we have large number of voters, youth voters, but it's just on paper. They won't come out. So I'm appealing to you, our youth in Osun State, please come out en masse tomorrow to go and cast your vote, exercise your right. And I want to assure the people of Osun State, their vote will count tomorrow.
That assurance is a good one, and we are hoping that INEC will keep to it, will hold you to your word, and Nigerians will ask
I told you something
questions. Yeah.
In Ondo State. I said, call me back. Let's have a post-election.
We will do the same. And promise that you will come.
Yes,
I hope
you will prove me right.
Professor Kunle Ajayi,
the votes of Osun people will count tomorrow.
Thank you so much for that assurance. And you've heard him. INEC says the votes will count. Security is saying everything is on lockdown. They will ensure security of lives and property. But many thanks, everyone, for being part of this edition of the program. Tomorrow is a day that you cannot miss. It's a historical moment for the people of Osun. Assurances are being given, but will you be counted? If you are a voter tomorrow, I think it's your time to take action. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. This is the National Election Headquarters, and your channel television is your station to watch for any election coverage. Thanks so much for watching. 7 a.m. tomorrow, we'll be live on the field to cover the election for you. Thank you so much. I'm Sean Wakimale. God bless Nigeria.